So yeah, that was about data enrichment, continuing to optimize our conversion rate and using their proprietary, machine learning algorithm to understand your best customer profiles. We're gonna change the conversation a little bit as I bring in Brian from Pixelz. He's going to talk about AI and how it's helping his massive team of designers improve product images, which is another way that we can increase conversion rate. Brian, you can explain it better than me. How's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for having me, Derek.
Always a pleasure. With that said, I'll let you explain the Pixelz process and how you use the magic of machine learning to do good in this world.
Awesome. Yeah, well, first, thank you. And yeah, great to follow Seth with some awesome tech. I'm going to have to check that out myself. And Derek, you're upping me again. I tried to bring my A game with the shirt, but the Kiwis are definitely blowing me out of the water. So
you're looking great.
Anyways, next time, I'll have to get some animals or something going on. But
and then I'm going to have like a fake mink coat or something. No, I don't know.
well, we don't joke about minks. We're a Danish company, so anyways, we'll leave it there. We won't go more. But anyways, just great to join in the event today. I really want to just focus in on how we're helping online retailers get products online faster. Also, how they're beating studio deadlines by leveraging AI-powered retouching. So yeah, as Derek mentioned. We've been at this for about 10 years now, starting with a very bespoke, very manual process. And we have evolved our platform and also the technology that we're using significantly over the years here, where we're driving the majority of the actual work we're doing is AI powered. So yeah, just looking forward to get into it. I also hope I see there is a lively chat. I would prefer this is not a monologue. So if you guys do have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Happy to, just answer any questions on the fly real time if anybody has any questions or comments. So yeah, looking forward to it. So just very quickly, I'm going to do a little brief intro about Pixelz, a little bit about me. Want to just kind of do a little backstory about how a lot of e-com retailers are thinking about retouching and image editing. We're going to get into the core of what is Pixelz AI and really just look at some real life examples, practical use cases. What kind of results that you guys can expect, and then just do a quick overview of the Pixelz platform. And we've got an offer, of course, at the end. So please stick around for that. Just quickly, a little bit about me. Again, I'm Brian Guidry. You can see I'm cheating here. My email is just right in my name here. It's just brian@pixelz.com. So again, if you guys are shy in the chat, feel free to shoot me an email at any time with questions about this service. I've been in retail for close to 25 years now, believe it or not. Been at a lot of big box retailers, everybody from Nordstrom's to some D2C brands. Also been working for a large fast fashion brand based in Spain called Mango, competes with Zara, and really have held a lot of different roles within the retail space. I've jumped over to the dark side. I've been in tech for another 10 years now, working with Pixelz, and we have a sister partner company called CreativeForce.io. And we're really been helping now, online retailers, brands, studios, etc., to optimize, edit, and retouch images for e-com. Okay, so again, with Pixelz, we consider ourselves to be the absolute easiest way for a retailer to edit, retouch, and remove the background from product images. And every day, I think really the core of what we're doing is we are helping studio professionals beat deadlines, get images online faster by leveraging reliable. I think that's the main part of our service, reliable AI-powered retouching services. Okay, so just a little bit of the backstory. I think there's probably a mixed. I know there's a lot of different types of retailers on the call or in the event today, big and small. A lot of people, when they're first starting to think about e-commerce image editing, e-commerce retouching, they're often doing that with an in-house team. It's either the founder, really trying to get into Photoshop and do it themselves, or hiring a small having a graphic designer or graphic design team that's actually doing this for them. There's definitely a lot of benefits there. Keep things close. Extreme focus on quality. It's very transparent. Tap someone on the shoulder. Hey, how are things going? But as you start to scale, right? it quickly becomes a bottleneck, right? Having an in-house team. So typically people are then jumping, starting to look into the outsourcing game. Can we, hey, we're doing 100 images a week or 100 images a day or 1,000 images a day. We need scale, right? So typically, you're going to go to a Fiverr, I'm going to go to Upwork. There's a lot of course, outsourcing vendors, BPO kind of providers in South Asia. And it does sound pretty good to start, right? It's extremely cheap. We can, high volume. And so oftentimes we see a lot of DTC brands that do go down that route, right? Like they're going to go try to work with a traditional outsourcing company. We've actually been in that same position. So our founders come from an e-com agency background, used to run post-production in-house, transitioned to be, to outsource as we started to scale, and really didn't find any solutions out there that were able to, consistently edit and retouch product images at scale. Typically, there's black box communication. It's back and forth on Skype or email, trying to get requirements right. Constant delays. It's a pretty frustrating process if you've done it for any sort of time. So a lot of our customers actually are coming to us today. I don't want to, probably the best word is jaded, but have had quite bad experiences actually going down the outsourcing route. So this was really like the impetus for what we're doing. We're trying to combine kind of the transparency and the quality of an in-house team, and then also give you guys the benefit of the quick turn and the low total cost of an outsourcing provider. So just why we do what we do today. So how do we do that, right? I think that's where we can get back to the AI conversation. We actually started out, like I said, 10 years ago, running a very traditional outsourcing model. So when we started the company, we had teams that we would set up. A brand would come to us, hey, we need to retouch or edit products a certain way. And we basically would create a team of image editors or retouchers, and they would then learn the brand requirements, and pretty typical setup. Whether that's if you're working with a retoucher, in-house, local freelancer, agency, studio, pretty much everyone's working this way. What we found internally as we started to scale, it was an extremely inefficient process, right? Like all of a sudden a brand would not be sending us images. We all know, the fluctuations of fashion, or the fluctuations of just any brand that's relying on a supply chain. I think that's been exacerbated tremendously with COVID. We saw, supply chains basically flipping upside down. So we don't know when we're going to receive product. We actually can't count on a consistent flow of products coming in that we can shoot. Right. And so that wreaks havoc on any kind of production, whether that's physical production or whether that's digital production. So we had to find a better way. Right. So what we've done, we've actually broken down the digital production process into steps. So when we receive an image from a retailer, the first thing we do is, we're understanding the retouching style guide or basically the brand requirements. OK, we're going to break that down into steps. So think about that just in basic terms. Background removal, I need to retouch the garment, I need to retouch skin, maybe I'm resizing the actual canvas size, different things like that, right? So we're going to break that down into steps. And once we have that broken down into steps, which we do at the start of a relationship with a brand, now we're trying to systematically automate small steps. So we're not using AI to automate the entire image editing process. What we've been doing now for, let's say, close to 4 or 5 years now, we're taking one step, we're putting a massive amounts of data in there, and we're using our own AI and ML algorithms to actually feed the system and learn how to effectively automate each one of these steps. Okay, so as you can see, we've been making some very significant efficiency gains. In 2019, we were doing, I would say, roughly 25% of our total production is automated. Today, we're running around 65% of our total total retouching volume is actually going through automated steps. So some very significant efficiency gains. And of course, that for our customers, it translates directly to extremely fast turnaround time and consistent quality. Okay, so because this is a AI-focused event, I wanted to just dive into some real-life applications. I'm not going to go too deep on some of the tech. I think I wanted to show some examples and then really just show how we're leveraging AI today, and then also how we're combining that with the actual expert retouchers that are on Pixelz staff, and that kind of hybrid blend between leveraging AI and then using our own in-house retouchers. That's really what's allowing us to deliver an extremely consistent, like enterprise-grade quality to retailers of all shapes and sizes. Okay, so yeah, the core of really, like, I think we started, one of the biggest tasks we started with 4 or 5 years ago was really on masking and pathing. So basic term, on background removal, things like that. When you start, if you want to put an image or a product, right, on a different color background, solid white background, whatever it is, we need to mask something out. So just leveraging AI masking alone has reduced the manual work by 75%. It's also improved our lead times by 20%. Right, so massive massive gains just on these steps. Pathing AI or AI paths, it's similar. We're actually recreating it's not just converting a mask into a path. We're actually recreating how a human would create a path. A little bit technical in terms of Photoshop work, but a different type of AI at work here. Okay, so this was really a major step forward for us when we started integrating this into our process. And then, of course, we've been hiring out an R&D team to really start pushing the limits on how much further we can take the retouching process. Other types of AI that we have working for us, we have a model crop AI. We also have some complexity prediction AI. So think about that typical, fashion retailer. They need to crop beneath the nose, crop beneath the eye. It's very simple work. Essentially, though, we're completely removing that. So we can identify in a model. We're using computer vision algorithms. Okay, we can detect the model, know exactly where the crop is. Crop's done automatically. It's all done, right? So, it's not a huge time saver, but it's something, of course, when you're processing millions and millions of images at scale for multiple retailers, this is it's a major time saver for us. Also, things like the complexity prediction AI. It's extremely useful internal tool. So, to the retailers listening, this is basically how we are handling our own production planning. So, when we receive images, we can quickly gauge how complex an image is, okay? And then we can basically determine what kind of resources we need to actually produce that image. So, we're doing literally thousands and thousands of product images every day. So being able to have technology that's going to evaluate and understand complexity, it helps us with the prioritization game, okay? More things, color management. So, yeah, I think this should be a no-brainer for all the retailers listening. But in terms of color, I mean, when you do not have accurate color, it's definitely one of the major drivers of returns, right? Someone's looking at a PDP, they think they're buying a color, and obviously when it arrives in the mail, an inaccurate color. Okay, hey, that's not what I bought. I'm returning it. We're seeing, obviously with going back to Seth's presentation, of course, like with running social ads. Every time more, that's basically, the major driver of traffic for all stores. Typically, they're running ads on editorial, more lifestyle imagery, driving traffic to a product description page. And oftentimes, there's a major disconnect between the actual products shown in a lifestyle or editorial image and then what they actually see on the site. Okay, so we're actually using AI in this sense. So, brands would send us a color matched reference image. You can see here we got a couple swatches. And then when we're receiving the actual unedited images from a customer, we're able to automatically match, okay, hey, this is the orange that needs to be matched. It's a time-saving step. And then in terms of color changing as well, we have AI that's actually able to swap out colors and do color changing. So, time savers, obviously super important in terms of, trying to nail down accurate color on your site. This is actually relatively new. So we actually launched a natural shadow AI. I say definitely a best practice for e-com across multiple categories. So, we're able to, if you can see, this is very subtle natural shadow under the bottom of the shoe right here. This is something that we can actually recreate with our own AI. So it really depends on how products are shot, but I would say we're 99% of the time, we're recommending this type of shadow more than a reflection shadow or subtle drop shadow. Really, prevents the images look like they're floating, and also just gives a great kind of natural look and feel to the product shot. So yeah, we're pretty excited about that. That is actually live, and I don't know. I think the percent, like something like 50% of all the natural shadows we're creating is actually done with natural shadow AI right now, if it's not obviously in the original image that that is sent to us. Some other cool things that we're doing, I think in general, in terms of trends, we've seen a lot of brands, transitioning to non-white background. So, still wanting to shoot with kind of a more editorial lifestyle type of imagery. So basically we're doing like background extensions. So if it's something is shot in a studio, shot on site, we can actually extend the background to fit whatever the, whatever the resolution or kind of canvas size requirements are. So just, again, every one of these small steps, it adds up over time. In our world, we price, and any retoucher, any you talk to, it all comes down to time, right? So the more time we can save, whether that's 30 seconds here or 2 minutes here, all of that adds up, and basically we're able to offer an extremely low kind of total cost to our customers here. I don't want to call this admin. I think our R&D team will kill me with this, but we are doing a lot of things internal. So, auto detecting things like hangers. We can specify specific types of objects in an image. We're doing a lot of file preparation. Again, pretty techy on the Photoshop side. So looking at like layer structures, we call it the plumbing, right? Just anything that we can do to help speed up this process. It's going to be a benefit both to, of course, us and also to all of the retailers that are leveraging Pixelz today. Also things, when it comes to defects, we always say, best practice, just a general cleanup. And if we're talking about like a shoe or a bag, right? We're trying to find dust, lint, glue, all that fun stuff. We actually have AI that will identify certain types of defects, such as dust. And then once we identify one, we can identify patterns, quickly pull them out. If it's something like a hole in a garment, we can identify multiple holes, and then we can actually mask those out or path them out so that we can fix them very quickly. So yeah, just again, a lot of small things that add up and really make a powerful tool at the end of the day. So what's in the pipeline and what can you guys be expecting? We're actually super excited about our invisible mannequin or ghost mannequin AI. Pretty much bread and butter for a lot of fashion retailers, especially with COVID, that models have not been so accessible. If you're shooting on mannequin, we can basically pull out this mannequin, merge it with a neck insert, and you get these great kind of ghost mannequin images here. So typically that is done, compositing or comping in Photoshop. We're merging two photos together, quite a manual process. We expect this to be launched actually quite soon. So we're quite excited about the invisible mannequin AI that's going to be launching. Other things I would say specific to fashion accessory retailers is shape retouching. This really comes down to styling, saving time in the studio. So the less your stylists need to focus on the perfect laydown or the perfect putting a pant or a dress right on a mannequin, we can actually save you all of that time. So hey, put it on a mannequin, lay it down, and then we're going to actually retouch the shape, liquefy kind of the sides of a garment, and really make sure that it has a professional look and feel. And so that's something that most of the large brands that we work with thousands of retailers, are actually requesting shape. You can see things like this on just like on the arms of this. Here we're going to shape these out so it has a very consistent look and feel. So yeah, this, of course, like on a category page, makes a massive impact, really, helps improve consistency, also lowers bounce rates, things like that. So yeah, we're excited. That's going to be an automated step very soon. And of course, yeah, a lot more coming in the R&D stage. It's something that we're proactively investing in significantly just to try to make more and more progress on the AI front. So yeah, we're pretty excited about that. Let's see. So results. What kind of things that, what kind of results can you actually be expecting, right? So I think we all know that high quality product images are, that's the first step to, let's say, professionalize your store, help improve conversions. I think that's table stakes. I won't get into, I've been on some of Derek's events in the past, right? We've gone through some of the data when it comes to like just conversions from like an amateur image to professional image. I'm assuming everybody is at least making that effort to, to create a professional product image for their site. And yeah, and I think, but really where the AI is going to come in and help you. So of course, getting a professional image is table stakes. But I think it comes down to efficiency, right? And so the more time that we can save actually processing an image, it's going to drive down our production time, and it's actually going to be driving down the cost. Okay, so it's there's definitely some significant savings to be had. Also, things like rejects, because we're doing a lot, the majority of the actual post-production process via technology, we are able to reduce a significant amount of human error, right? So typically the brands that are using us, they're coming from a scenario where maybe there's multiple rounds of edits with an art director, or they have to reject things in order to get an image perfect. We're typically going straight from shot to site, right? So you send us an edited image, it's going to be published to your website. There's no back and forth in between. We have currently like a 99.3% first-time approval rate. So extremely accurate when we know the exact spec that we're going to be using. So I would say if there is a lot of back and forth that you're doing with your team, you can definitely leverage AI to significantly improve that entire workflow. Speed, we've seen, I don't know if you're familiar with the bestseller group. It's one of the leading fast fashion brands, fast fashion groups. They have 20 plus brands in Europe. They've been leveraging Pixelz technology to radically improve time to market. So we've actually seen an 80% improvement from when things are hitting a DC to when they actually are getting published on a website. So again, this is a special case. One of the things that we're super excited about and that we've been rolling out for about the last year and a half is that we're helping high volume retailers transition to what we call flow retouching. So instead of sending off, let's say you're shooting product images, you send off a big batch, at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're helping them actually start sending off products for post-production on a SKU level. Okay, so let's say the brand starts shooting at 10 a.m. We will actually start delivering products back within 2 hours, fully retouched, all included, which would typically, even with like an outsourcer, would be a 24-hour turn. An in-house team would probably be several days. But it's a game changer for retailers where speed is front and center, right? So I have a fully retouched image ready to go online in as little as 2 hours. It's pretty powerful. Okay, so and I think other things that we're trying to help out with is obviously automation across the entire value chain. So, the uploading of images, the downloading of images, we're trying to streamline the entire process. So not just the actual retouching and image editing work. So we are helping several retailers as well. Most of them are leveraging our API. And then of course that's feeding into, leveraging our image editing AI. And that's really creating an extremely streamlined and very fast and automated workflow. So, tools. So yeah, kind of what to expect with Pixelz and what we're offering our customers. First and foremost, I talked a little bit about, traditional outsourcing, even working with an in-house team. We give all of our customers a platform where they can access in real time. They can see the status of their images, the orders that they've uploaded. So here you can actually see, this is our SAW production system. It stands for Specialist Assisted Workflow. So when you do upload images to Pixelz, whether that's 10 or 10,000, you'll see exactly where they are in production. Okay. If that becomes an urgent order and you need to get them quickly, because everything is in a system and is powered by tech, you can literally click a button and we'll prioritize that. We can have them delivered back in as soon as 3 hours. So again, it's just about, extreme transparency and really helping our retailers just move quickly and get products online faster. Yeah, we saw a little bit of this before, but apart from just seeing a before and after, we also have some QA interfaces. Again, so we don't need to be going back and forth with a vendor trying to explain via email how to make something look perfect for your site. So we have some tools we can quickly do markups, request changes, literally mark something up visually, put in a quick text comment. And it's going to go straight back to the editor that did this. We prioritize it. We get it back within 3 hours. Again, it's about speed and transparency and just allowing you guys to move fast. We've seen countless examples. We've actually been in the same boat where we have to go back and forth with post-production vendors, can take multiple days, especially with their overseas. and it can, like, QA can actually turn into a nightmare. Sounds like, hey, this is amazing, I need to, get 1,000 images done or whatever. And then when you see the final result, it turns into a management nightmare. So we always say, when I will say, when evaluating external providers, if you decide to go down that route, the true test is not the 10 sample images they provide you, it's the 10,000 images that they produce at scale, right? And so I think if there's not tech behind the scenes, whether that's AI or even just a production management system, I would be very wary of what you're going to get, right? So just make sure you're doing the due diligence on that front. Pixelz or not, of course, we would love to help you guys out, but definitely ask those questions, right? To make sure that they're going to be able to do that at scale. A lot of other tools. I won't go into everything that we do at Pixelz and a lot of the different bells and whistles, but we're offering our again, everything from color change management to alignment, cropping. We have a lot of tools built in really to help you deliver best-in-class imagery for your e-com stores. Okay, so and then also we've got a I don't like to say DAM, it's like a mini DAM system, but anything that has been processed with images, or I'm sorry, that has been processed with Pixelz, we make sure to keep copies. You can create kind of dynamic collections, and just to make sure that you always have all of your images ready to go and ready to be published to the site. So and finally, because we are leveraging data, we actually track down to the Photoshop level, all the tools that our editors are using when producing images. That's actually driving a lot of our ML and AI models in order to help with automation. But that also is giving us extremely granular insights. So everything from number of images we've produced over time, our rejection rate, on-time delivery rate, even things like how much time we're spending per specification or how much time we're spending per category. We give all of that front and center to our customers, right? So that's what we use to hold ourselves accountable. We believe that for good or bad, that data is yours, and you can make the decision how we're doing. So it's extremely important for us. We also think it's kind of the first time that a lot of brands have actually seen this type of data, especially if you're using an outsourced vendor. Again, it's a black box, right? It's really difficult. So it's I think they think they're doing 24 hours. It's actually 48-hour delivery or rejection rate. We think it's 5%. It's actually significantly higher. So big believers in data here. Coming to an end here, I definitely would recommend, if any of this does sound interesting, we would love to invite all of you guys to test out the Pixelz platform. We do offer a 14-day free trial where you can go ahead and test out our service. We do deliver 10 images free of charge. You can see here we have several different plans, everything from if you're a small retailer kind of just getting started up to enterprise grade. We power most of the leading online retailers and brands these days are leveraging our platform to kind of create very professional grade imagery. So we do have something for everybody. Again, it's everything from marketplace kind of basic background removal up to bespoke high-end retouching for fashion and accessories brands. So again, if you want to check out more information about pricing, you can just head over to pixelz.com. It's Pixelz with a Z and then /pricing. And finally, if you guys have any questions, I would love to be your personal point of contact. I love the e-commerce tech community. Been participating for quite some time, and I love everything that Derek's doing and the team's doing. So if we also provide volume quotes for high volume retailers. So if anybody does have questions, would like to dig in more on our AI, potentially would like to scope out what a pilot or free trial looks like, feel free to contact me directly. It's just brian@pixelz.com. So
Awesome. And Adam's saying, I will definitely be trying this service out. So I think you've got him incoming right now. Brian, I'm whenever I hear about Pixelz, I just get so amazed of what you've been able to build. It really is. It's almost scary. This is an event about how AI will kind of replace us, right? And you are saying the designer is no longer needed for almost, and you said by the year 2022 you're going to be designer free with almost all of
those are Derek, but those are your words, not mine.
Yeah,
But,
and
but
it's I think it's okay to replace the designer. I don't think the designer, I don't think that was supposed to be somebody's job, you know, just kind of was a job that came along a while ago, and now finally we have the technology to move past having to have somebody make all those tiny little markups in Photoshop, you know?
Well, I actually, I mean, a caveat there. If I don't know if do we have time just for a minute? Because I think it's
sure.
important. I think it's an important comment. We actually work best, Derek. So, you know, we can do 100% of the image editing work. And for brands that are looking to completely take that off their plate, like, we're a great solution. That being said, I think there is a trend in online retail where it's just like, you know, standard white background, that is table stakes. And we're seeing a lot of brands pushing the limit, and really, you know, they're trying to be more creative in studio. They're giving a lot more autonomy to their stylists, to their photographers. They're really trying to add more value add to their imagery, right? To be different. And I think in those cases, we're elevating the designer. Okay. And what we're doing is we're going to strip away, let's say 90% of admin creative, right? I'll prep it. We can prep an image where then, let's say, a designer that is extremely talented, they're going to come in and do the subjective retouching that's really going to elevate that image, and it's going to make their brand stand out. So in those cases, I honestly believe we're a true partner to those brands, and actually the in-house designer becomes a fundamental piece. What we're doing is we're giving them superpowers where they can then process 1,000 images overnight, right? And maybe they're going to make some tweaks on a handful of images, but they don't need to, you know, art direct, you know, with 50 comments on every single product image coming through, right? Like, that I agree. Like, there's probably a better way.
Meant to be part of the process.
Exactly. There is a better way. Same thing. If you have to mask or path out products, that used to be that, you know, you would hire someone just to do that, right? That process in itself, if we have AI to do that, like, no, you don't need to spend 20 minutes masking out a product, you know, to put on a background. Like, we got it. And now what we can do, like, we're going to free your creatives to create. You know, and it's like, you know, I can guarantee that for all the D2C brands here, there is so many more creative projects where they could add value than, you know, clipping out a background, right? Like, whatever campaign or social ad or whatever that's going to be, you know, so I think it's just about empowering the actual designers, actually, more than replacing them.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Now, I want to challenge you on this one thing. You said the white background is par for the course. Have you seen what types of other creatives convert? Or because I've been told that the studies say that white backgrounds tend to be some of the worst converting. Now, I do agree that it's par for the course in the sense that you have to have one image there, but should it be the first image? Do you have data on this? Have you checked this out?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the last couple of years, we're seeing, like, the mains are changing quite a bit. I think also, right, with Instagram kind of being a go-to, just even for consumers, right? Like, that's where they're receiving a lot of their inspiration. That's where they're kind of getting ideas on how to shop. I mean, that is becoming front and center. Like, lifestyle editorial is becoming, like, that's a trigger to buy, right? That being said, you know, I think that diversity on the PDP page is more important than ever before. I think it's super critical. You need to have, like, I agree. I actually think you should be having the you know, the lifestyle editorial images on the PDP, but then also, you know, you need to have the different alts. I actually think that, you know, white background still table stakes, but then, hey, what about, are you using, you know, do you have a 3D model? Are you able to, are you giving an AR experience? Do you have a 3D spin? You know, are you have video there, right? There's a lot of different media types that I think brands are playing with. And is there one way? I think a lot of, you know, smaller D2C brands, they're leveraging lifestyle. And I think one thing that's been interesting is, I think that COVID has been a little bit of an equalizer, and that, you know, the last, let's say, I think we're seeing studios now back online, but, like, you know, over the summer when studios were offline, I mean, that's what you had. You had a model with her boyfriend shooting on an iPhone, and, you know, like, Free People were putting iPhone shots on their homepage. And it's like, hey, I can, you know, as a D2C brand, I can do that. You know, it was like an equalizer, right? So there's been definitely some interesting dynamics going on. We're definitely seeing professional studios back online, volumes back, or, you know, everyone's gung ho on e-com these days. But yeah, I think this last year has changed a little bit perceptions, and I would love to get some more data on that, Derek. I don't. I think we need to find an ecom tech partner to join forces with, so we can do some analysis like that. But yeah, I definitely think there isn't one gold standard. I think that is one thing that I have very clear. I mean, we're working with some of the largest brands in the world, doing very different things online, and it would be very difficult for me to say that they're not successful. So I think it comes down to really having a testing mentality on the brand level. Can you try different things out? That's a big undertaking, right? For a lot of brands. I mean, even just getting a white background image is like, that's pulling teeth for a lot of brands, right? So, creating assets to different shadow types or different retouching types, different backgrounds. We are seeing people, going down that route and trying to figure out what's the best, but it does seem a little bit like the Wild West, right? There are people still trying to figure out the new way, and I think this last year has also flipped things around a bit. So we're still trying to see how the dust settles.
Yeah, and I would say, we had LimeSpot on earlier today talking about how they tested a recommended product, and this would be, the main image of products kind of showing up below a core product on a product detail page or a collection page or something along those lines. And I think there's a lot to be done. They don't test the creative that's being shown for those products. It's still on us to test that creative, and so I think there's a lot to be done with split testing different creatives on our product detail pages, on our homepage. And that does still rely a lot on the brand today. I do. In the e-commerce, I would say that, the biggest flaw of all merchants is that they're probably not split testing. They're not split testing enough. They're not proving that one variant versus another is, outperforming. And that can be with, even the title on your homepage. It can be with the product detail image. It can be with all that stuff. People just aren't testing enough. And so, but back to maybe the point of Pixelz, though. I mean, your technology is truly astounding. You mentioned if somebody was going with somebody else, to make sure that some form of technology was enabling them. Honestly, I don't see anybody even coming close to comparing with your technology. It's so robust, which puts you in the true pioneer position for this industry, which is why you're here, which is why we brought you to the stage today. So thanks so much for showing that such amazing technology.
Thank you. I mean, you're spot on. Everyone will promise you extremely high quality, extremely fast turnaround, and extremely low price, right? But if you don't have tech to back that, I would be very worried. So
yeah, and that reminds me of that Venn diagram, which, is like, do you want it fast? Do you want it cheap? Or do you want it high quality? And it's like, oh, wow. Well, now that we have technology, we can do all three.
We can get close. We can get close.
Get very close. Awesome. Brian, thanks so much for joining us today. We're going to move right into our next session.